Welcome everybody to your 10x Down Under series. Today we are in our webinar on the 10x Sales System Interactive, hosted by myself, Alison Wheeler, and Gary Ryan. We are pleased to have you all on. For those of you who are live, welcome. And for those of you who are listening to the recording, we are glad to have you here, and we're excited to bring you the webinar today, filled with and jam-packed with lots of information that you can implement to improve your business revenue and sales. So Gary, if we move to our next slide, I will go through a little bit about what you can expect today, everybody. Excellent.
And yeah, we've got our group rules in the chat there. So please display your first name, folks. Turn your camera on. Please, only people with their camera on and their name displayed will be able to ask questions in the Q&A at the end of the session. Please use the chat to communicate with Alison and myself throughout today's webinar. Be respectful in the chat, and there are no self-promotion of links or of your business in the chat. No AI takers allowed. We've already had to remove a couple of them, and only the hosts are recording the webinar. So just remember, folks, this webinar is being recorded, and have a notepad ready to learn. Let's continue. So what we know with our 10X world is that 10X ensures reliable revenue and profit, bringing security and stability to your business, even when the economy is uncertain. Now, like you, Alison and I have been operating our businesses for some time. Between the two of us, for over 30 years, we've been running our businesses, and we both have experienced the ups and downs of business. And for me in particular, the down that I experienced was at the start of COVID, where in just 5 business days, 90% of my business stopped. I discovered, folks, a massive secret about business. Do you want to know what it is? I discovered that comfort is the enemy of success. I had become comfortable in my business. I didn't realize I was comfortable. I thought I was still working hard. And then when that 90% of the business walked out in just five business days, I discovered I actually had a problem with my business. Now, yes, I can use the excuse like most people did about the once in a 100-year event of COVID. But the fact was, I had a business that wasn't protected when the economy did that. Okay. And that's why I went looking for the solution to that question. And the solution is 10X. And that's why I'm here with you today personally. Alison, did you want to just briefly talk about yourself and your experience with 10X?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and a little bit like Gary, business owner as well. And like all of you who are watching, had those ups and downs, and what I've learned, from 10X has been invaluable. I thought I knew, and I didn't realize what I didn't know until I realized what I didn't know. 10X has helped me see and refine my sales systems incredibly to be a powerhouse in sales and getting results. And in addition to that, I think one of the things that I realized in my iterations of business is you can get so focused in your business that you lose sight of it. You lose sight of the goal. Certainly I did. I was so in my business, working hard on my business. I wasn't working enough on my business. I was working in it all the time, trying to work it out, trying to get it to grow, but I wasn't keeping an eye on what was actually happening and what was going on. I wasn't reviewing my numbers enough. I was definitely 100%. Couldn't have told you my revenue on a day-to-day basis. I was hoping my accountant would handle that. Unfortunately, none of that happened, which meant when we have had economic downturns, that caught me out because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I just didn't know enough about my own business. And like I said, I lost sight of the target and the goal from working in the business, which meant that in order to change, I was making change too slow, far too slow. And it to the point where it really, really meant that I had to make a major pivot out of the business into and iterate into a new business. Luckily, I realized that through the actual 10X information before it was too late, and I lost everything. So I didn't get to that point because I got across this information early enough to be able to get out of my business, review the numbers, understand, reassess, and pivot quickly enough to save anything from that happening. So I feel very passionate about 10X, and particularly for all business owners, in order to be able to have that level of transparency in your business, level of knowingness, level of predictability. Those were all the things I was wanting. I just didn't know how to get them until I discovered 10X. So we're hoping that we can pass on some of that to you today. So Gary, I'll hand it back over to you to go through a little bit more about the 10X difference.
Yes, and the 10X difference that we're going to talk with you today, and the 10X sales system, folks, is applicable to startups. It's applicable to businesses trying to break through to their first $1 million year of revenue. Businesses are trying to go from $1 to $5 million, 5 to 10, and 10 million and above. This sales system works for all of those businesses. In fact, it's being applied from some businesses from the 100 million to the $1 billion space. So this system works. So the 10X difference is a proven system. If you've never seen The Undercover Billionaire with Grant Cardone, that's where he went to Pueblo, Colorado, via Discovery Channel as a challenge for 4 billionaires, where they were given the opportunity in just 90 days to create $1 million of value, except for the challenge included they couldn't use their names, they couldn't be themselves, they couldn't use their wealth, they couldn't use their contacts, they even had their phone taken off them, they didn't know the town that they were going to. So Grant only found out that he was going to Pueblo, Colorado on the day that he was sent there, and he had his wallet taken off him. He had his phone changed. He got given $100 that he actually went and put in the bank straight away. So he was completely broke, nowhere to live. And in 90 days, he was able to, unlike the other billionaires who didn't do this, he was able to achieve a $1 billion valuation, folks. So it's all there for everyone to see in the 14 episodes of that show. You can check it out yourself. And if you stay in our world, we'll even give you access to the behind the scenes version that Grant has, that he got the rights to be able to share with you, which is unbelievable because he talks about his strategy execution the entire way through that show. It's just absolutely brilliant. If you choose to be involved with our world, our community, you get access to that program. So equally, one of the things that Grant does is he has a 90-day challenge. Now, globally, businesses are entering the 90-day challenge, and Alison and I have the privilege of coaching those businesses. I'm coaching people from Denmark to London to Dubai, right across the East Coast to the West Coast of the USA, New Zealand, and across Australia. And Alison, the companies that you're been coaching, which countries do they come from as well?
So Australia, New Zealand, yes, Dubai, Spain, Switzerland, America, Canada, UK. It's just a huge array. That's just the ones off the top of my head. So Albania, actually, I have a lady as well. So a big array from all over the world. So I guess the advantage of what we're saying here is it's not the 10X system is not country dependent at all. The systems will apply to any country. What we teach works. 10X works. It's a cutting edge system that allows you immediate implementation into your business to have impact on your results. The idea of 10X is to have actual systems that work, that you can implement. This is not about fluff. This is not, yes, there's an aspect of mindset, but we're not sitting here hoping for results. You will have tangible direction and, okay, these are the things to do. So that is the cutting edge system as well.
And equally, for those of you in the room, great to see you with your camera on. Do you want to just pop in the chat? What's the main reason why you signed up today? Just pop in the chat. The number one reason, you've probably got multiple, but what's the number one reason why you signed up today? So just go into the chat. If you're not sure where that is, it's usually across the bottom of your Zoom screen when you run your mouse across the bottom there, and you can enter that into the chat while Alice and I continue to just share what's on here. And Alison, we've both been privileged to have interviewed Steve Holmes from Crest Health, and his interview is actually available on YouTube on my YouTube channel, which has nearly 42,000 subscribers. And with Stephen, that 63% growth was quite remarkable. Do you want to just talk, Alison, briefly about some of the things that he's been able to do?
Yeah, 100%. Look, Steve's based here in Australia, so we thought we'd bring you an Australian result. So he's been able, he had a business. It was going okay, but they were at that crossroads of, do we keep going? It's really not growing how we want to. They've been able to increase their business revenue by 63%, which is enormous. Absolutely enormous. They're now looking to expand facilities, expand throughout Australia. And they were at the crossroads before they started the 10X system. Do we keep going or do we shut down? They were the questions. You know, Steve said he'd sit in his office and he'd be busy being busy, but he wasn't busy being productive because he actually didn't know what to do next in order to grow his business. So with clear systems and clear guidelines, knowing how to sell, knowing how to follow up, all of those things that are super important to understand, he has been able to have 63% growth, which is just amazing. So I see Neela has put that you've just started in business and you're looking forward to getting some ideas regarding sales and how you can improve sales. Fantastic, Neela. Thank you for dropping that into the chat. So we are going to keep moving on so we can keep to time. So Gary, I know that you're going to say, talk to about some of the things that you might come up against when you start listening to 10X as a system.
Yes, and a lot of folks go, we hear about these systems. It just sounds too good to be true. We get the skepticism that folk have, and we understand it because there are a lot of promotions out there that aren't backed up by reality. And as we've already been demonstrating through the Undercover Billionaire show and more evidence we're going to show you that this 10X systems works. And just that 90-day challenge that Alice and I were talking about before, that we have the privilege to coach business owners right across the world in, the significant increases in revenue that have been achieved by those businesses in different currencies, in different economies, and just continues to prove that this 10X sales system works. And as we've seen, it's just as effective with startups as it is for businesses that are established, like Steve Holmes's business was. One of the key elements of that story, folks, is that Steve was in business for 9 years prior to joining the 10X system. And then in that first year of joining the 10X system, he increased his revenue by 63%. He does report in the webinar, in the podcast interview with Alison and myself, that in the first quarter of this financial year, he was already 52% up on the first quarter of the previous year, where he had that record year with that 63% growth. Just applying 10X just absolutely works. So we understand that you might feel this is too good to be true. Some of you may have invested in programs before, and quite honestly, it just didn't work out. Now, that will be because that system doesn't teach you properly what you need to do. But we understand if you have invested before, it's like, do I really want to try something again? But as we said, this system works. Maybe you're concerned that you won't hold up your end of the bargain. Maybe you're the sort of person that has invested in programs before, but then you didn't do it. You've got all these online programs and you didn't do it. One of the things that we bring with the community that we have, that we'll be talking with you about very, very soon, is that we help you hold up your end of the bargain by holding you to account. And this is one of the number one problems for business owners, is who are you accountable to outside of yourself? And to have someone that you're saying, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, and then if you don't do it, they're saying to you, okay, you said you were going to do A, B, C, and D. Did you do them? And you say no. And we say, well, why not? What's stopping you? What's blocking you? What do we need to help you with that you need to do so you can take those actions that you said yourself you're going to do? Many businesses fall over because they don't have that level of support. And of course, people say that they don't have time to invest in learning. Well, like every single champion person that you can think of, every single, whether it be in sports like Michael Jordan, like Kobe Bryant, business people like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, you think of any successful person that you possibly know, that you will discover that they all get support and help. They all have coaches and mentors in their lives that they've gone and recruited to help them to continue to learn. If you don't learn, oxygen and learning in 2024, they're pretty much the same thing. And if you don't have oxygen, and as a human beings, folks, quickly drop in the chat, what are you? If you don't have oxygen, drop in the chat. What happens to you as a human being, folks? That's it. You're going to die. That's exactly right. You're not going to be around anymore. Okay. So
It's
understand.
not your fault. 100%. So we want to go through some statistics for you just so that you have a little bit more reality. In the financial year of 2022, 43% of Australian small businesses, that's less than 20 employees, reported zero profit. That's over 1 million businesses. That's a scary, scary fact. 15% of all other businesses reported 0% profit. 75% of all small business owners reporting earning less than the average wage. Something is broken in this system, and we in 10X are determined to fix that. Financial year 23, we know that insolvencies are up 40%. In 23, McDonald's reported its worst year ever. Carl's Jr. went into administration. Rex Airlines trading halt and administration. If you're looking out there for evidence that things need to change, that's what it's looking at. We can get fearful and we can retreat. That's one option. Or we can get educated and we can power ahead and dominate. In June 24, the ABS reported gross operating profit has fallen by 2.5%. Wages and salaries, however, have rose by 0.6%, meaning you have to act quickly. You need to make sure that you are staying profitable, monitoring your numbers, and you need a system that works to help you grow your business so you don't become one of those statistics. You become one of the winning statistics. So you can pay yourself more than the average wage. There is a way to change it. The system is there's a fault in the system, but if you don't know what that fault is, it's very, very difficult. So we are here to help you identify that and change it.
Yeah, and this 10X sales system, folks, is going to help you do that. And it's one of the things that, in addition to these stats, 20% of businesses in Australia don't make it through the first year. 60% don't see year three, the end of year three. And only 5% of businesses are in business 10 years or more in Australia. Again, it's not your fault because a lot of you just don't know the things that you don't know because you haven't learned it, you haven't been exposed to it. And the number one solution is revenue generation, folks. That's the number one solution, which is what the 10X sales system is all about, enabling you to increase your revenue so that you can avoid those problems. I've been in business for 18 years come February next year as an executive coach, a high performance leadership coach, and also a business coach. I've worked with businesses right across Australia and, as you've already heard, internationally as well. Some of the big names like Nutrien Ag Solutions, Metro Trains Melbourne, the City of Perth, the City of Melbourne, many government levels, Eric Jones Stair Buildings, Shawfac Group, City of Whitehorse, the list goes on. And a consistent factor that drives me as to why I love doing what I do is because I'm an absolute believer in the reality that businesses are what make our world a better place. It's through business, not our governments. Our governments, in all honesty, are doing things that really are out of our control largely, and they're really not helping a great deal, but it's actually businesses that can make a difference. And by businesses being successful, what we're really passionate about is that makes the employees successful. And when employees are successful, just like the business owners, when you go home, you have a better home environment. And when you're having a better home environment, you're going to have a better interaction with your local society. Alison, do you want to just share a little bit about your business experience?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I've been in business for over 13 years. My background, I'm an occupational therapist by profession. That's where I started out. So we've done that traditional route of education, worked for myself within that as well. But I've always had a keen interest in entrepreneurship or having some small little sideline along the way. I had my daughter. We then had a network marketing business, which I built to a 7-figure business, the top distributor for that in the world. And then moved on from that back into coaching business, rebuilt that. I'm extremely passionate about helping businesses to really, truly be successful. My background, as an athlete, professional athlete. So I understand what it takes, the discipline it takes in order to create any level of success in any area of your life, but particularly in business. And I've always had a coach. because you cannot see the label on a jar from the inside. There are just things you cannot see, you cannot know. And when you're working in your business all the time, it's almost impossible to see it from the outside. So having that set of eyes, or that person that helps you see it from a different perspective, makes all the difference in the world. Gary earlier talked also about the 90-day revenue challenge. There is actually one of the goals of that 90-day revenue challenge was for businesses to earn $1 million or bring $1 million revenue in 90 days. And I am the only successful coach out of the group of coaches that did that, to coach one of those businesses in the most recent 90-day revenue challenge that we've had to that success. So that is $1 million additional revenue in a 90-day period. So it's a very exciting. It's literally just been announced officially, and all the checks and bells and whistles and bank accounts and all of that stuff's been verified. So hot off the press, you now know that Australia has the coach who has been able to coach someone to $1 million in revenue in 90 days. So I thought I'd share that.
And as look, we're so excited with her, so proud of Alison for that achievement. So, folks, just so you know, in that challenge, there's 33 elite business coaches for Grant Cardone around the world. Alison and I in that challenge were the only two outside of the USA. And so for Alison to coach a US business, so one of the things that Alison didn't mention, that's $1 million US more than that they'd ever earned before. So just to keep the numbers nice and simple. Let's say that business in the previous best 3 months that it ever done had turned over 1 million. That meant that for this challenge to be successful, they had to turn over 2 million US dollars. And that achievement has been done. They'd never achieved that revenue in that period. Not only was it revenue, it was actually cash in the bank. So some of you might understand the difference between the cash system and the accrual system. This is actually money that's gone deposited into the bank, $1 million extra dollars. And the coach of that was Alison Wheeler, who's actually a Kiwi. So we need to give a shout out to our New Zealand folk who are also a part of our community. So welcome to our Kiwi folk across the ditch there. But we've stolen one of your Kiwis, and we've adopted her, definitely adopted her as an Aussie, especially now that she's got this great win, because that's what we do in Australia, don't we, to Kiwis, Alison? We tend.
Well, that's right. Exactly. Pavlova, Vegemite, you know what? Let's keep the list going. It's all good. So, but that is just a little bit about us, so you know who you are listening to. But let's get into. We do want to be very upfront as well. That we will be giving you an offer at the end. We want to outline that at the beginning, so that you're not, sitting here going, "Oh, what are they going to sell us at the end?" Well, we're about to tell you, so that you know, and then you can make your own decision as we go through the information. So, this is our offer. Gary, do you want to cover this off?
Yeah, so this is our group group mentoring program. So you'll be involved with existing other entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself. It's every Tuesday evening. The time zones vary, but if it's Australian Eastern Standard Time, it's 7 p.m. That makes it 10 p.m. in New Zealand, and it makes it 5 p.m. over in Western Australia, and some variations in between because of our crazy country. Not everyone's on the same time zones. Me in Melbourne, it's at 8 p.m. at the moment. We promise 48 sessions over a 12-month period. They're 45 minutes long. They're about education, practicing. We literally get to practice some things live in those sessions, like scripts and those sorts of things. We get people to practice their pitches with us. There's the exclusive WhatsApp accountability and Facebook groups. By the way, by being transparent about our offer right now and upfront, transparency is a big part of the 10x sales system that we're going to be sharing with you very, very soon. There's additional new resources throughout the year. So members of that program also get the recordings of these free webinars that we do. Other folk do have to buy the recordings. We do a deep dive on a weekly rotation into the 10x math, 10x mindset, 10x marketing, 10x sales, and 10x follow-up information. And you have access to all the recordings. Immediately once you choose to join, you will get access to over 45 hours of existing content. We guide you immediately as to where to go to access that content. Our introductory offer is not the normal $497 per month. It's only $297 per month for you to get access to that group mentoring program, folks. It's a great and supportive environment. One of the things that business owners struggle with, to be brutally honest, is the loneliness that can come with being a business owner. And we help solve that for you by putting you in an environment with other business owners where we are supportive of each other. We have our very, very clear no negativity rules. So it's about Alison and I educating and the rest of the group being accountable to what you say you're going to do in that environment, but also really offering support and a great environment and community for each other's businesses as they grow. So I've popped the link for that into the chat. If you want to go and sign up straight away, please feel free to do so. Here are some testimonials. I'll let you talk to this one, Alison.
Yeah, look, it's important as a coach, obviously, that you gather feedback regularly to make sure your customers are happy. And in fact, this is part of the 10x sales system, is check in with your customers along the journey. Are they happy with your services? And a lot of times people will avoid asking your customers in the sales process or during the utilization of your product or service, are they actually happy? Are you happy with the service? People to avoid asking if there's a problem. But guess what? Problems are an opportunity to sell. And you can address them before you have an unhappy customer that doesn't want to then partake and then has negative things to say about you. You're better off jumping on it early. So part of the 10x salesperson system is we actually address those in that process, and we encourage everyone to address those in that process. So we make sure that we get regular feedback on any coaching that we do and make sure that our customers and clients are happy. So there's two testimonials that you're seeing, which is 5-star feedback on both the coaching from myself and from Gary. The one on the left of mine, that is actually from the Franks, which are the people who have been able to achieve the $1 million revenue in 90 days. They could not be happier with their results. They're rejuvenated in their business. And when they started, I didn't even know that they weren't. It just wasn't something for me to consider. We just focused on the goal and went for it, and then we broke it down and we got it done. And then obviously, Gary, do you want to speak to your feedback?
Yes, so I've been really delighted to have the opportunity to work with Ken and Carrie Ballard from Golden Years Home Care, and aged care is a pretty significant industry these days. And they were quite similar. They were looking at actually considering getting out of the business. They'd been in it for 25 years. And the rejuvenation that they've received, and in fact, completely changed their mindset about the goal of their business. One of the things we help them do is we help them see the real data about the growth of that industry and the potential of that industry. And they've actually shifted from being a $3 million business to firstly aiming to get to the $10 million mark, which is where they're well on their way now, to actually a larger goal of over $300 million. They can see that there is a massive opportunity for them, given their experience. They just have been thinking too small. And thinking too small, folks, is where we start our information on the 10x sales system for you, okay? So make sure you got your pens and notebooks ready, folks, as we work our way through this. So there's 7 steps to the 10x sales system. And the first one, the very, very first step, is that you need to have your idea. What is your business idea? So Neil A, you popped in the chat earlier that you are just starting out. So you're starting out in whatever format your business is. Feel free to pop that in the chat. In fact, all of you, if you're happy to pop what your business focus is in the chat, that would be awesome. But the idea itself is actually not enough. Next to your idea, you need to set a goal. Now, 10x actually means 10 times, folks. 10x means 10 times. And while we are focused specifically on the revenue side and your business today, it actually applies to your entire life. Have 10x relationships with people that you care about. Have 10x health. Lisa, alleviating stress, mind and body. Okay, so you're in the wellness space, Lisa. That's terrific. Okay, awesome. So for your business do you have a goal? Like a revenue goal. We call it a target. You need to have a target. We believe in setting big targets. One of the things that Grant Cardone talks about, who's our mentor, Grant Cardone, self-made multi-billionaire, folks, as you saw with those pictures where he was with Alison and also with me, he is our coach. We get directly coached by him. Now, he costs $100,000 an hour to be coached. because we're his coaches. We've invested in becoming his coaches, and we were selected by him to coach his clients in addition to our own clients. We also get directly coached by Grant. It's an unbelievable deal that we've been able to work our way into. So Neil A, help achieve businesses achieve their marketing goals by helping them with printing requirements. Okay, awesome. So you're in the printing space. All right. There's lots of opportunities there for printing, no doubt.
Something that I just wanted to quickly mention too, when we go through this wheel, everyone, you may find that it's opposite to what most people do. In fact, it is. Because what most people do is they get this wheel around the wrong way. And that is it's a big mistake in business, right? So the first is to come up with the first thing is to come up with your idea. Now that might be the idea for your business. If you're already in business, it could be an idea for a promotion. It could be an idea for a product. It could be an idea. There's lots of formats of what this idea actually means. So it might be the idea of your business in total, or it could be a part or subset of your business or a promotion or whatever it is. You come up with the idea. That is step number one. What is it that you actually want to do, get out there, whatever it is? And like Gary's saying, put a goal and a target to it, a goal to it. What the heck does that end up being? Which moves us into obviously the next one, because if people don't know what the next one is, you need to know where you're heading, right? That is the first step. So I would encourage you, if the people who are watching, if you don't have a goal, write one down now and then 10x it and write it down. What is the goal? Where the heck are you trying to drive your business towards? Otherwise, if you're not focused on the future, you'll be focused on the past. And I can tell you now, there generally is nothing of use there.
Yeah. And the final step on this first point about setting goals and targets is, as Alison was just saying, you could be an established business, but established businesses have to keep bringing new things to the market. You can't just stay old. You'll get overtaken in no time. So you have to keep coming up with new goals, new ideas. And when you come up with a new idea, you need to set a goal to that idea. You need to have a target. And as Alison just said, you need to 10x that target. Now, there's a reason for that. I mentioned, what was the percentage of businesses that are out of business in the first 12 months, folks? What was that number? Pop it in the chat. Just pop the number in. You don't have to put the word percentage. Pop in the chat. What was the percentage of businesses in Australia and New Zealand that are out of business in the first 12 months? I just mentioned it a little bit earlier. Let's see if anyone was paying attention. Who's got it? Who's got it? That's a bit high. That's a bit high. Nile, good try. It was 20%. 60% within the first 3 years. Now, here's the reason why, and it comes to this idea and the target. The business owners from day one were setting goals and targets that were too low. And what the problem with too low goals is that when business gets hard, and we all know it gets hard, no one is successful in business without doing hard work. So you just accept it's going to be hard work. But when they get confronted by that hard work, the reward of their low goal is not enough to continue to persist with more hard work to achieve the goal, because the payoff isn't there. This is the power of setting big goals with your targets against your business. The bigger you think, the more likely you are to be successful. That's the bottom line with the first step of the 10x sales systems, folks. The bigger your goal and target, the more likely you are to be successful. And that scares the pants off people, but nowhere near as much as this next step, Alison.
100%. So once you've got an idea, and again, this is where what most people would do, they will not do this step. So they have their idea. What most businesses do at this point is then they go start producing. They go start developing the product. They put all the time and the energy into getting the product ready and testing and, all of that stuff. You don't even know if the market's going to respond to that yet. Is it what the market wants? And do you know how to get the market to respond to that idea? So before, there's countless times that businesses have gone out of business because they haven't been able to get their product to market fast enough at quantities great enough in order to earn profit. Your job is to get your product to market fast enough in order to be able to get enough customers to stay in business and thrive in business. So the next step after you have idea is go straight to getting attention. So the question is, how are you getting attention for your idea, for your business? How much noise are you making out there? Or are you still trying to be the best kept secret? If no one knows about you, you are not the best anything, right? How are you helping people if you are not getting attention? Can't help anybody if you don't have people coming through the door. So that could be yelling from a rooftop, standing on the side of a road with a sign. It could be, being all over your social media. Exactly, Gary. It doesn't have to be perfect before you start getting attention. Take the idea to market. Hey, I've got this reflexology offer. Do you need to have it all worked out and perfect? No, you don't. You don't need the landing page, the anything. You can just stick a post up on a group and Facebook and across all of your social platforms. Start yelling from the treetops. Contact everybody you know. There's a million ways to get attention. Have those people getting attention for you. How can you get attention? Promote, 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 promote. And in 10X World, we say be omnipresent. It's not enough to just promote in one place. I remember, and some of you might be able to relate, when I first started in business, okay, I'm giving away my age and how long I've been in business, but we used to put up newspaper ads. Now I am showing how long I've been in business, right? Gone are the days where we do a lot of newspaper ads, but we used to put up newspaper ads. I remember putting my first newspaper ad in, and I was so excited. I thought the phone was just going to go, it was going to run hard and everyone was going to knock down my door. Yahoo, woohoo, and crickets. And I was waiting, like I was literally waiting by the phone, thinking this is just going to be the best. I had no idea. It wasn't until I had like 10, 15, 20 newspaper ads, right, 10X, that it started to get a result. I just wasn't getting enough attention. I was getting drowned out beside every other person who was advertising in the newspaper. So this is where attention is so important, but also then correct estimation of effort comes with attention, because the only way you fail is to give up. Sometimes we don't have the right estimation of effort, so we stop short. Now, 10X applies to everything, so know that it's going to take 10 times what you think. That will allow you to adjust your estimation of effort of going out there and getting loads of attention for your business and your product, so you don't give up. You keep going, all right, just not enough effort, just not enough attention yet. I haven't got enough coals on the fire. So attention, attention, attention. Promote, promote, promote more than you think. Letterbox drops still work. And Lisa, that's Lisa's question. Yeah, letterbox drops still work. Why? Because hardly anyone does it anymore. It's a way to cut through noise. Flyers work. Flyers and letterbox work. Flyers face-to-face are more powerful, handing them out. Right? All of those, handwritten notes. Even better, if you can write a letter, and these days you can write a letter not in black pen, because when you copy it, it doesn't look real, but you can handwrite a letter in blue pen, and you can copy it and it looks great, and you can put those in people's letterboxes. Exactly. Direct marketing and send it via Australia Post, things in the mail. That stuff still works, and it works well these days as one method, not the only method, again, because it's going to take getting a lot of attention. Never rely on one thing. One of Grant's favorite sayings, never rely on one thing. That applies to everything, right? Never rely on one marketing method, because your business will be wonky. What happens if that goes down? You need multiple marketing methods, multiple ways of getting attention, multiple ways of bringing attention to your business. So step 2, attention. Gary, over to you for step number 3.
Yes, and as we go there, I'll just demonstrate quickly about how I mentioned you might have a pre-existing business and how this model applies to a pre-existing business. So I'd had my YouTube channel since 2009, and on June the 1st, 2023, I had 47 subscribers and 95 videos. And as a result of being in the 10X world, I finally admitted I had never set a goal, I'd never set a target for my YouTube channel, and I had never done anything to get attention for it. Today I sit here and we're just under 42,000 subscribers, right? And I've got over 340 videos. It's because I set a goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, and I started getting attention for it. And I also learned what I did not know about how to use YouTube, right? And when you go and do the learning, apply it to a goal that you've set and get attention, a whole bunch of good things start to happen, folks. And of course, you can imagine having nearly 42,000 subscribers on YouTube is very good for business. So let's continue into step 3, folks, which is you've got to generate leads. So it's one thing to get attention, but you've actually got to have a way of generating leads. So you've got to be able to get the names and phone number and email address of the people that are considering what you're doing. So clearly, what do you think today is partly about, folks? Okay, pop it in the chat. What from the 10x sales system and what we're doing with this free webinar, what are Alison and I actually modeling for you right now by hosting this webinar? Which step are we actually doing? We've had to, in fact, do all 3, but what step are we clearly trying to get to through this? Yeah, getting potential clients. So getting leads, right? Getting you here with us, Lisa, as an example. And the only way you could do that is you had to share your details with us to be able to do that. So we are modeling for you right now examples of how this 10x sales system works. Now, clearly there's lots of different ways to go about generating leads, but that's where your landing pages and your funnels. And one of the things that a lot of people constantly ask us, should I go and get myself a website? We say, actually, if you don't have a website yet, get a landing page first. Work out what is the simplest offer you can have, which might be a free strategy call, or it might be a free ebook, or it might be a free something that you can offer people, but get a landing page with a very short funnel created so that you can capture name, email address, and phone number. So now you can start to move into, as Alison's about to share with us, the 4th step of the 10x sales system, folks. And the 4th step of the 10x sales system, Alison, is...
So next, once you've generated leads, so you have a lead, someone who's interested, you need to nurture them. So in the 10x world, we know there are very specific statistics. It's a thing called the 98-2 rule, because we know that only 2% of sales happen in the first contact. We know that 80% of sales happen in the 5th to 12th contact. So if you aren't contacting people and nurturing them through a process, you're missing out. And that nurturing process, most businesses give up after 2 contacts. I don't want to be pestering people. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to seem pushy. La, la, la. All that story you have in your own head, and you will have one. We all do. I had to give that story up in order to have business success. Did I want my story, or do I want success? And that had to be a choice. You guys will need to choose that. Do you want your story, or do you want success? You can't have both. Create a better story. You need to nurture your leads, right? So have some sort of system. That might be, you might have a CRM system, which is a customer relationship manager, in case you don't know what that is. It could be a book. It could be an Excel spreadsheet, some way of monitoring these leads that you've got coming in and how often you're contacting them and following up with them and nurturing them through a process. If you don't have a nurturing process and you don't know how to make one, use AI. ChatGPT, great, perfect. It can create one for you. Tell it about your business and ask it to create a nurturing sequence for your leads from your offer. So you have to keep warming these people up, giving them value, adding value through the process so that you are developing those relationships. In 10X World, we say, what is the difference between contacts and contracts? Anybody? What would be the difference between contacts and contracts? And it's really simple. Literally in the word, what's the difference between contacts and contracts? What's the difference, people? Pop it in the chat. What is the difference in the word? It would be the letter R, exactly. And what does the R stand for? Relationships. And it takes time to nurture. You've got to build a relationship with these people because, like we said, we know that 2% of people will not buy on the first day. We also know that 63% of people that inquire with you are not buyer ready at the time of inquiry. So you need a nurturing process to build those relationships, to bring in revenue. I feel like we are brought to you by the letter R this afternoon. So that is the next step in the process, number 4, which is nurturing leads. So what do you have in place, and do you have anything in place? And if you don't, continue to develop that where you can nurture those leads. That's not pester them. That is provide them with valuable information to move them through the process further towards a sale. So Gary, the next step.
Well, I think, Alison, it is fair that this afternoon's webinar is brought to you by the letter R, given that you helped the Franks generate that extra $1 million worth of revenue that they'd ever done before in a 90-day period. Revenue matters, relationships matter. They did the work through the nurturing of their leads to be able to take them into the 5th step of the sales system. They were brilliant at it, and they followed what we teach, and that is you need to convert your leads and close sales. So we talk about closing sales. Now, there is a very specific algorithm that comes to being able to close sales. And one of the things that we teach in our community through the group mentoring program is the exact 5-step sales system. Now, the beauty of having a very clear 5-step sales system that technically has 13 steps in it, but you'll learn more about that should you choose to join us in the group mentoring program. We do like to keep it simple at the 5 steps, but occasionally we do have to delve into what the 13 steps are. But could you imagine that if you actually know where you are in the road to the sale, to the road to a close, if you know exactly where you are, then you are in control of the process. You're not freaked out when the customer presents an objection to you that you thought you'd already closed the deal. You already thought it was done. But by the way, folks, a close is only occurring when the exchange of value actually happens. Now, something we haven't mentioned at all, because we are focused on business and revenue, is this system is about persuasion as much as it is about anything else. So much in life is about selling an idea, a concept. It might even be about what restaurant you want to go to tonight with your partner. You've got to close that sale, right? Once you actually learn these tools and these steps that we teach you, which are all part of the 5th step of the sales system, is you get better at that too. You actually get better at persuading people in general life, not just when it comes to actually closing sales. And again, the beauty of being clear about where you are in the journey to the sale is because you're not freaked out. You know where you are. Sometimes it takes longer than what you had hoped. For example, Alison just spoke about before that in that nurturing process, it's between 5 to 12 contacts after you've done your initial 30 contacts to even get their attention. So there's at least 30 in the attention step. And then once you've got some attention, that's at least another 5 to 12 contacts before you've even generally got the chance for the sale in that 98-2 rule that Alison shared a bit earlier. So knowing where you are. Now, folks, just in the chat, just tell us, H for high, M for medium, L for low. If you actually knew what those 5 steps were when you came to closing a deal, what would your level of confidence be? Would it be H for high, M for medium, or L for low? Pop it in the chat, folks. That would be low for you, Lisa, if you knew where you were. Is that what you're saying? So if you knew where you were in the road to the sale, you would be lower in confidence. Is that what you're saying? Just want to double check there. H for high, medium for low, near A, medium, okay? Once you get exposed to what they are, it's amazing how so many people, okay, so if you're not good at closing, one of the things is once you actually know what those steps are, closing becomes a lot more comfortable because you know what you're doing. You know where you are and you know at each step what you need to be doing. So one of those steps is about fact finding. And as an example, one of the biggest problems people have in sales is they don't find out if the person they're talking to is in fact the only decision maker or not. Now, people will talk to you as if they are the only decision maker, but if you don't find out that someone else is involved in that decision, you may think you've got to close when you don't. So a simple thing we teach you to ask people is there anybody else that would need to be involved in the decision? Now, a second thing that we teach is we're all about compressing time, not expanding it. So if their answer is yes, it's Samantha, then we say, where's Samantha? Can we get her right now? Let's get Samantha on the call too. Can we actually talk with Samantha right now? We want to close down time, not expand it. That is just one little tip of hundreds of tips that we have and strategies that we have that we teach people to be able to get better at that. Okay. Working on building from aware to trust, starting the business from July this year. Okay, so you definitely in the attention getting phase, Carissa. And one of the things that you might be getting there with working on building aware to trust is getting out there, getting that attention, starting to capture leads, nurture those leads. That's going to build trust, but then also knowing how to close deals along the way. Carissa, great to see you jump in on the chat there for us there too. Okay, so closing deals is actually step 5 of the road to the sale. Alison, let's move into the 6th of the 7 steps. You're on mute there, Alison.
Mute doesn't work when you if you don't unmute. So once you've converted leads, you need to be able to manage those sales. Now, what do we mean by that? Obviously, one, you actually need to do you know how you're going to collect money? The number of people, I'm like, do you know how you're going to be paid? Are you prepared? Are you ready? Right? Do you have a business bank account? Do you have that all sorted out? Right? Know how you can be paid. That's number one in managing a sale. Additionally to knowing how you're going to manage a sale, being able to accept money, being clear on that process for yourself so you're not all uncomfortable when it comes to that level of exchange, is follow-up. Follow-up. So once someone actually comes into your ecosystem and is actually a sale, there's then a whole nother nurturing sequence that goes on. That how are you looking after that sale? What process are you taking them through so it's nice and smooth and it's not all clunky and funky? What are you doing to make sure that they're happy with your product and service? Over promise, over deliver. Not under promise, over deliver, right? Over promise, over deliver. Why? Because that's going to make you reach to a whole nother level. So what's your plan to service your clients, keep them engaged and keep them buying from you because they're so happy they want to tell everyone about your service? How are you going to manage the sale? What's your follow-up process? So that might be another sequence in your CRM or on your spreadsheet or however you're monitoring that with how you're going to manage those sales. There is a follow-up sequence required after the sale just as much as there is in nurturing. We need to nurture them into the sale and we need to nurture people post the sale as well. And again, most companies don't do this and we wonder why they're in trouble. How often have you been contacted by a business after you've purchased something? Oh, to check in if you're happy with the service. How are you going? That small touch point can create the opportunity for so many more sales. And in TEDx, we talk about the second sale. The second sale is easier to the first, meaning once someone's purchased, it's easier to sell them. And in fact, most people are looking to validate the first purchase with another sale. Now, they are either going to do it with you or someone else. If you are not offering that second sale, whose fault's that? They're going to go spend the money anyway. It may as well be with you. If you are fully sold on your product, you will manage that sale and do that follow-up and nurture those people so that they can maximize their services with you and maximize the outcome. At the end of the day, we're all here because we want to help people. We want to help businesses. We want to help individuals in whatever way, shape, or form that is for our business. And that only can happen if we're exchanging. It doesn't happen from the sideline. So managing sales is very important. Get clear on that process. And I would suggest if you're new in business or you've been in business for a while, document all these processes. Because the next step in that, it leads us to the next step, Gary, which is to scale. Now, that's not scaling. There's scale and there's scaling, and they're not the same thing. This is to scale this process, this sales system, to be able to repeat it and to be able to repeat it on a bigger, grander scale. How are you going to do that again and again? What automations do you need? Have you documented the successful actions in the process so that someone else could potentially take it over? What could you automate in it? It's scaling the process, the sales system and the sales process. Different than scaling your business. That's a whole nother conversation. We're just talking about the scaling specifically of the sales system. And then you go around again and again, because you are always going to need to repeat successful actions, get more attention, drive more leads, get more sales, and around and around. Is why it's a circle, because you go around and around and around and around again. And in that scale process, you actually also look back and find out what worked, what didn't work. What do I need to improve, right? What do I need to adjust? And those 6, identifying the actions that have worked, we scale those, you do more of them. And a lot of this can be done organically without spending a cent. Without spending a cent. Whereas a lot of businesses will try and take their product to market, spend money on their advertising when they've done no organic. They do not know if it even works. Just because you spend money on your advertising doesn't suddenly make it good. Get it right organically, and then spend money on your advertising, because a stinky ad or stinky advertising with money spent on it just as expensive stink. So don't do expensive stink. Work out the organic. That means, yes, you've got to put in the hard yards. A lot of people are trying to outsource it really early in their business. They spend a fortune, but they haven't developed the clear guidelines and the clear client avatar and all of those things that are required to get that marketing message, that attention message correct. That's why you keep going through again and again and again. Keep going through that process. And like Gary's just put, cost per lead. Can you drive your cost per lead down? Can you drive your cost per acquisition down? The better you get at that model, the more you will be able to start to play with those numbers. So that is our 10x sales cycle. Gary, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, just that last point there about the scaling side of things. It's like, understanding that something like what we're doing today, for example, that will go into an evergreen webinar. Maybe some of you have heard of an evergreen webinar, some of you might not, but by recording this, creating this, we can then have a product that's available for people because of the scale of this system that is now turning over, and people are watching it. Well, we've literally got our heads on the pillow. Now, we've developed the system to enable us to be able to scale in that manner. Now, yes, of course, when you get to that point, there are some costs associated with your systems that sit behind it. But as Alison said, it's remarkable how much you can do without having to spend a cent. All you got to do is put in your sweat equity. You got to put in your time and effort. And also, the faster that you can compress time to learn the best ways to post, for example. What are posting ways that, without advertising, are going to increase the organic reach of what you're doing? Now, a lot of people are very scared to post. They're very scared to pull out the video and just start talking to their camera. It's the simplest thing that you can do to get attention, folks, is to start recording yourselves. And through our group mentoring program, we have material to teach you what do I say? What do I talk about? So that you can start to post. Because if you do go down the advertising pathways, and this is a big mistake small business owners in particular make, that they go straight to trying to paid advertising, and yet your own social media presence is non-existent. We know through what we're exposed through the back end of all of these algorithms, that if your own social media is low and you do paid advertising, you're just burning money. You're just wasting money. You need to get your own organic levels up. And as Alison said, it's a great way to test the market for what your offer might be. It's a great way to find out, is there even any interest out there for you? So folks, we'd just like to share again the opportunity that we've got for you to work with Alison and I. Again, we've got the 48 sessions over 25 weeks. So over the next year, between now and November 2025. They go for an average 45 minutes where we educate you. You get to practice what we're teaching here. You get to specifically ask questions about your business and how you're applying what we're teaching. We have that accountability through the WhatsApp groups and Facebook group There's continually new resources that Alison and I are creating all the time, practicing what we preach, in other words, through the 10X sales system. We do that weekly deep dive into the 10X math, 10X mindset, 10X marketing, 10X sales, and 10X follow-up. So this week, we're actually focusing on 10X sales on Tuesday evening this week, 1:30 p.m. if you happen to be in Queensland. Sorry, no, it's not. It is 7 p.m. if you happen to be in Queensland, and 8 p.m. if you happen to be in Melbourne, 5 p.m. in Western Australia, and 10 p.m. over in New Zealand. Access to all the session recordings. It's 45 hours and growing. We've got the link there, the businessgrowthdownunder.com/mentoring program is the place to go for you to check out and join us. We'd love to have you join us and be with us and learn from us. Again, you're the first people outside our little world. Alison just this morning got permission to share the information about her winning the 90-day challenge with the Franks and the extra $1 million. And when you're absolute in elite company, I can assure you I'm delighted that Alison is my business partner. I'm certainly claiming that I'm got the benefits of working with her because she's an awesome, absolute awesome coach. So that's the other thing about the group mentoring program. You get access to both of us. Like we each of us cost significantly more than the $297 per month for you to be able to get coached directly by us. So to have both of us in those weekly sessions, again, once you join, you get immediate access to that vault. We tell you exactly where you need to go to quickly compress time and get you up to speed so that you can be 10xing your business. We've got to the last part of our webinar where we have promised that we would take some questions. For us to do that, however, you do need to have your name displayed and you do need to have your camera on, please. For the next few minutes, we are happy and willing to take some questions from you. But again, please feel free to turn your camera on to do that. Now, just as you're thinking of what your questions are for Alison and I, this is what's going to disappear when you join us. You're going to lose that lack of clarity regarding sales that some of you mentioned before. You're going to lose the inconsistent revenue that is a big problem for a whole heap of businesses where you are struggling to have predictable income. So many of you, it's one of the reasons why those businesses do stop, because the security of being an employee, even though you don't want to employee, at least be an employee, at least you know that the money's coming in. That inconsistent revenue is a really big problem. That lack of the effective sales process, as we've mentioned. So it's not just lack of clarity around sales for that first point. It's a lack of clarity around so much of what you're doing in your business. So for example, how much attention are you actually getting right now? Or are you still waiting, in inverted commas, to perfect everything before you start getting that attention? You know, we help businesses literally start today, get attention today, with the opportunity to have the problem that people want to do business with them tomorrow, because that's a mighty fine problem to have, folks. Okay, Alison.
Absolutely. So, you will drop all those missed growth opportunities. Sometimes you may not even know what you are missing. That can be a mindset thing. That can be, from a sales perspective, a marketing perspective, because we cover those. So you're going to know where to look, what to look, and what are the main growth opportunities for you. No longer miss growth opportunities. And here's one of the biggest that you deserve to actually drop, and that's fear. Right? That fear that's holding you back. And man, do we make up all sorts of stories about this one. I can't do that because, right? How do you really know what evidence, false evidence appearing real? What evidence are you looking for? Imagine if you started to look for the evidence that your goals were possible instead of proving that they are impossible. You will search for whatever the evidence and you will find whatever you want to find. You are in control. So that is everything we wanted to cover. But like we said, we do want to open it up for questions. Who would like to jump out and ask us a question? This is now your opportunity. Jump out and ask some questions, folks. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? Don't be shy. We would love to help you as much as we possibly can. You can also pop it in the chat if you are super shy and afraid of jumping out, but we would love to have you jump out. Now is a fabulous time, or you can share a takeaway. We would also love to hear if you've had, what was your main takeaway from today? Hey, Lisa, good to see you.
How you going?
Fantastic. And you?
Good, thank you. Thank you both for all your insights. I've been madly scribbling notes down. Yeah. There was probably lots of takeaways. The biggest one is that, it's where I sit, and it's sort of like redefined that for me. I've really got to get clear on who my niche is and what my offer is, because I have so many different offers. So really, until you get that clear, you can't really do any of this.
Absolutely. And that's a trick or a trap, perhaps more likely, for a lot of business owners, right? We're so good at so many things, excellent at so many things. We can help so many things, but I can help everything. I advertise to everyone because I can help so many things. I hear it all the time. Well, that's great, but you're only going to help one person at a time. No matter what, you're helping one person at a time. Even if you're helping a million in the room, it's still one person at a time. Okay, so what is the biggest problem that one person is facing? What is that one problem? Can you identify it down to that main problem, the common main problem, and then create an offer around that main problem? So that client avatar with that main problem, drill it right down to what one of the biggest things with that is, what language did they use?
Yes.
Not your language. Because they're not going to respond to you. When you're grabbing attention, it's just going to be all about you, and they're not even going to hear it. So what is the language that person uses to talk about their problem? And guys, if you don't know that, go interview some people. Ask, survey, ask. Great way to find out what language they would use. And with the power of things like Zoom and AI, you can record it, you can get transcripts, you can then have all sorts of words for your marketing, and fantastic ChatGPT can help us out to put that all together. So yeah, if you're unclear, if anyone's unclear, then interview past clients, potential clients, future clients, people that you think have the problem that you think you can solve. And that can give you a lot of data as well.
And that's a good idea. Along those lines too, Lisa, is one of my Danish clients. He said to me, he's in software space, so it's a different space for you, but he's got this particular software, and he just thought it was the one offer. He just thought he only had that. So when Alison was before talking about the second sale, he said to me, Gary, well, I don't have a second sale. I said, yeah, you do. And he goes, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do. He goes, but I've got my software. I said, could you offer a done with you version of that software? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, could you offer it so that rather than they just buy it and have to install it themselves, that you'll actually have sessions available, like virtually mentoring sessions for a period of time, where people that have bought that software can jump on, ask questions, and you can like group coach people through that particular product. He goes, I'd never thought of that, Gary. That's a great idea. Then there's also the done for you version. So it's now three products where you actually offer to go in and you do all the implementation for them. Now that's clearly going to be at a higher price point, but some people are going to want that. Now, the issue that I'm demonstrating here, Lisa, is that because he'd never, by having someone to have that conversation with, even though I'm not an expert on software, I'm not. But because I know the 10X sales system, I was able to help draw that information out. Now, even for yourself, you've got into alignment there, and you've got to embrace and renew life. I'd be encouraging you personally, just start talking about what that is. You can promote what you do while you're working out what your offers are in the background. And people will reach out to you through your promotions, Lisa. And what will happen is that will give you some clues, because you get to have communication. Now, in fact, the whole 10X sales system is actually about communication.
Yeah, I'm doing lots of videos and stuff, and people like it. They say lovely, but that's it. But see, I'm probably not asking for the sale or whatever, or putting an offer out, because the thing is, I've got in-person reflexology and healing, then I've got online coaching and kinesiology, then I've got products that I'm promoting, And so I have all these different avatars and all these different offers, and then I just go too much, and then and I've got all this chat GPT. I've got pages and pages and pages of ideas, and then they just stay there because I go, which one am I doing?
Pick one.
Just
Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one, go to market fast, get it out there and get a response. Also, additionally too, we often wait. The biggest mistake that a salesperson makes is they never ask for the sale. Number one mistake, right? So you actually have to ask. And a lot of people are probably waiting for you to ask, right? So you need to ask for the sale, but pick one, because there's no right or wrong. You need just something to lead them in the door. Then you can offer them whatever else, right? Great, perfect. But you need to get them in the door in the first place. And if they're confused by what you offer, because you're trying to offer everything, then they won't know how to come in the door. And then you're not inviting them. If people are liking your post, there's no reason why you also can't reach out to them, right? Engage in conversation. Social media is about engaging. It's creating relationships. Again, not waiting for things to happen. We need to go out and make them happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, it does. I've just got to find the right places because my audience on Facebook is just like friends and people all over the world. There's no one local here on the Gold Coast for my reflexology stuff. So I've started going into some of the business groups and things on the days that you're allowed to post and getting zip.
You need to, I would highly suggest joining the mentoring program so we can help you drill down.
Yeah.
Get some clarity and some accountability.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Excellent. Would anyone else like to? Thanks for jumping out, Lisa. We truly appreciate it, and hope that that has given you a little bit more clarity and assistance. Would anyone else like to jump out or share before I hand it over to Gary to wrap up? Thanks, Nellie. Nellie's written. It was really nice to get the idea about. Gary's moved it faster than I could read it. It was really nice to get an idea about the sales process and how sales can be improved. Thanks, Nellie, for that lovely feedback. We appreciate it. So what I'll do, Gary, is I'll hand it over to you to wrap up the webinar.
Certainly, Alison, and thank you, folk, for coming along. Folk, I tell you what, to have this opportunity to ask Alison and I some questions, just like Lisa just did, seriously, for free, honestly, ask us a question like before we wrap up this session. It's such an amazing opportunity. Neil, I see you've popped yourself. Let's go, mate. Come on, give us a question.
So I think you've just opened, and we've been always trying to struggle to find out the best offers that we could put forth and then get in a few clients. But then as Alison just mentioned, everything is just correct, right? You just pick one and then start doing it. I guess that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. And just, you know, what Alison said this phrase earlier that you might have missed, repeat successful actions.
Yeah.
So if you've been getting some sales on something, then focus on that, repeat that, try to scale that, as Alison said earlier, and get aware of what your second sale might be. Because did you hear what Alison said about second sales?
Yeah, it's more easier probably. You just have to follow up with them and then ask.
That's right.
Ask the questions that do you have anything else, right? I guess we don't do that often.
That's right. Now a free offer is a first sale, by the way. A free offer, if someone accepts a free offer and you get the information as a lead, that is actually equivalent to a first sale.
Okay. Yeah.
So then because now I get to be in more personal communication, that creates the opportunity then for the second sale. And as Alison was saying to Lisa before, you know, we strongly encourage you to take the opportunity to join us in our group mentoring program, Neil, because what you're going to find is the information that we're going to teach you, again, is coming directly from Grant Cardone. We are in his inner circle, being directly coached by him. This is something for you all to think about too, folks. You are then only 1 degree of separation away from a self-made multi-billionaire who has a passion and a mission to teach people around the world how to create successful businesses. You're only 1 degree away from that person through being in the group mentoring program at such a low price point. We call it a stupid if you don't offer, and all of you should have stupid if you don't, smart if you do offers. That's what SIYD stands for. Stupid if you don't, smart if you do. You should all consider, what does your stupid if you don't or smart if you do offer look like? And again, in our group mentoring program, we help our members sort that stuff out for themselves so that they can be more successful. So Alison and I would like to thank you for joining us, folks. The opportunity to access the recording for a very small $7 will be made available to you. If, of course, you choose to join the group mentoring program, you don't have to worry about that step, because you will get this recording as part of this program. Carissa, we thank you for your feedback there. Thank you, Lisa. We always promise to deliver real information when we run these free webinars. And I hope that you all believe that we have delivered on that promise. As you can see, there are 4 best-selling books that Alison and I have co-authored together: Mindset Mastery, Marketing Mastery, Sales Mastery, Follow-Up Mastery, and we also had a recent addition to that to make it 5 in a row. So please feel free to check us out. All ebook versions. They're all designed to be read very, very quickly. And the Mindset Mastery one is also a bonus inside the group mentoring program. So folks, thanks for joining us. We look forward to having you join us in the group mentoring program. We'll certainly see you again otherwise, and we will be staying in contact with you as we continue to nurture the relationship with you. Thanks for coming along. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nilay. Thank you, Carissa.
Thanks.
Alison?
Thanks, Gary, and have a great day, everyone. Let's go out and 10x your results. Bye, everybody.
Let's go. Let's go.